Good.
Hello, everyone. Today on our list is the first player interview we have. The last two episodes we had Coach Holly from Munich, and yesterday Coach Frank Rosa from the Ingolstadt Dukes. And today we're going in with the first player, and we also go international. He is from Czech Republic, Daniel Balažovič, right receiver. He played for the Stuttgart Scorpions, Ingolstadt Dukes, and now for the Prague Black Panthers, multi-times Czech Bowl champion. And we are up to his whole story, how he starts football, and of course how he end up now having his own, together with Jan Stiegler, football gym, American football gym in Prague. We are excited. Coach Mele is with me, and now Dobrý den to Czech Republic, and Daniel. Daniel, how are you doing?
Yeah, hi guys. At first, really thank you for the invitation, and I'm really excited to be here to talk with you, to see you in this really special tough times. And yeah, again, thank you for that. It's really a nice program. I wish you only good luck in that, and I am so happy that I can be the part of this program and of this podcast. Yeah, so, guten Tag for Czechia. Ja, wir können auch in Deutsch sprechen. No, just kidding. Yeah, you know, we got a nice weather here in Prague. It's 20 degrees, but we are not allowed to walk outside, so it's a little bit crazy time.
Yeah.
But we are healthy. At least everybody around me are staying healthy. Positive vibes only. So yeah, that's it. Can't wait for the interview with you guys.
Perfect. Daniel, how old you are right now, and when you start football, how long you're already on the track?
This first question, I was a signal. So let's say that I'm pretty old. No, kidding. I am actually years old, which is quite a lot. No, I'm 34 years old. So this year supposed to be my 17th season. That's it.
Perfect.
So,
and when you start with football, because we all know now it's easy to get in touch with football because NFL is everywhere. But how you come in Czech Republic in touch with American football at the first time?
Yeah, that's it. That's a nice story. I hope that we have a lot of time. Actually, it will take hopefully more than 2 hours like with yesterday, Coach Frankie. But I will try to make it short. And you know, the whole my life is connected with the sport. I was playing basketball since my 7 years. And then during the college time or school time, I was thinking what the next, you know, what to do for a life. And then in that time, like my mother told me, have a look, if you want to be like professional basketball player, I don't think so that this is a really nice future for you. Imagine that you will get some injury, I don't know, in an age of 22, 23, and then what will you be able to do for your life? And I said, okay, maybe nothing, just throwing the ball into the basket, but I cannot do it anymore if I will get injured, you know. So, and in that time, I met my next afterwards teammate, Adam Sinacek, in one club in Ostrava.
Yeah.
And he was just making a fun of me, like, hey, you are playing a basketball, this is like for ladies sports and so on. And I said, come on, no way, I love that. And he said, no, try to come and to our practice. I'm playing American football in Havířov, which is a little town, not so far away from Ostrava, like 20 minutes by train, maybe. And yeah, then I recognized that it's a time to stop with the basketball and to be more focused on my future career, business career, not sport career. But still, as the sport was a part of my life, I didn't want to just live my life without the sport. So I said, okay, let's continue in the business, in the study, and I will try to play American football just for fun. But afterwards, year by year, the fun has been changed, and I mean, the American football basically set up as well my professional career. Yeah. So in that time, I was 18 years old when I visited the first American football practice in Havířov. The team was called Havířov Devils. And my first practice was following. It was an Oklahoma drill with a legendary Czech linebacker, Walter Harazin. I guess everybody in the Czech Republic knows his name. He's pretty hard on the field and as well off the field. And in this Oklahoma drill, I finished with a concussion. So that was my first touch with the American football. And it was back to year 2004. And then I spent the next 4 years up to 2007 in Havířov Devils. Afterwards, I got my contract or possibility or that I will get a new work somewhere in Trutnov. Jan Stigler is here.
I see him coming to the door. He is
actually,
there he is.
Actually, he was standing here like 3 minutes already and trying to be naked and so on. No, so coming back to my career, it was 2007. I have to write it here on the paper. When I got a new offer, it was working offer to really another part of the Czech Republic. So I say it was nice offer. I accepted there. But for me, the question was, okay, I can move there, but I need to play football because I really, in those 4 years in Havířov Devils, I understood that football is such a, it's like playing chess with the people, you know, with a human. So I really fallen in love with this sport and say, hey, I have to continue to play that sport. And I was living in a little town in the north part of the Czech Republic called Trutnov, somewhere of nowhere in mountains. And there were only 2 closest teams to that town. One was in Pardubice, maybe 1 hour driving by car, no highway. And the second one was in Liberec, as well, like one hour driving, as well, no highway there. And in that time, I was thinking, okay, which team I will pick, you know? And Liberec got a much more website in that time. And in the summer, they were in a training camp in Croatia, and I was like, wow, what a team. They can go, they can travel to Croatia with some nice, you know, 1 week together of trainings at the coast, enjoying everything, nice weather, sea and so on. So I said, okay, I go to Liberec. But when I came, I'm sure it was not because of me, the main sponsor left. There was some issue. So I understood the reality, you know, but in this city, after 1 year, I moved to this city because I had some private issues and another business there. So I was living in Liberec, playing there 2 seasons. And after the second season, it was in 2009, I was in contact with Dan Leško. In that time, he was the head coach of Prague Lions and as well, had some connection with the Czech national team. So we started to talk together that maybe I should think about to move to Prague to play a football. But for me to leave everything in Liberec and move to Prague, it was not possible because I was not doing the football for a life. And I said, okay, I can play there, and I will be traveling like for every practice from Liberec to Prague, which is like 110 kilometers, you know, 2 or 3 times per week. And yeah, and at that times it was the team called Prague Lions. There were basically in the Czech Republic 2 greatest teams: Prague Lions, which are still great team, and Prague Panthers, not Black Panthers, but Prague Panthers. And when I was thinking to which team I should go, my decision was clear: Prague Lions in that time, yeah, because Prague Panthers, they were. And this is like 90% only running a game, you know. And me as a receiver, I just want to play the football, not just to block. Even I love blocking. So my decision was to go to Lions because they were another. They had in that time another concept. It was more like a passing concept. But that year, before the start of the season, some internal issues in the Lions organization happened. And Coach Leško called me and he said, hey, part of the team is leaving the Prague Lions organization and we are going to create a new team, new organization, which we'll call Prague Black Hawks. I said, okay, whatever, you are great coach, I want to be under you. So I moved to Prague just for playing the football and spent the nice next 3 years with Prague Black Hawks, you know. we played the first our league. We get it to the final game. We absolutely lost against Prague Panthers, and it was really like more than 50 points. That was crazy game. But the next 2 years we were again with Prague Panthers in the final game, and those next two final games we won as a Prague Black Hawks. You know?
Was
And
it the first championships then?
Sorry?
Was this the first championships in Czech Republic?
Yes, that we won with a Prague Black Hawks like that. And that were both of those games were really tough. Well, it finished by one touchdown, even 1 point, something like that. I don't remember it right now, but it really I enjoyed so much. And afterwards, something interesting happened, and that was the foundation of Prague Black Panthers, because the managers of both organizations, they sit together, and it was really clever decision. They say, okay, it makes no sense that we will the whole Czech league will finish that it will be the final game between those two teams, Prague Panthers and Prague Black Hawks. So what about to create a really European, one of the European top teams that we will join the Prague Black Hawks with the Prague Panthers, and both parties has accepted that, and the Prague Black Hawks, Prague Black Panthers history began, you know. So, and since that time I was a part of Prague Black Panthers, and that's back in, I think, 2013 this happened. And wow, that was crazy, because I remember the first camp after this joining or connection, there were around 120 players on the camp trying to get to roster. So it was really nice, you know. Yeah, that's 2013-14 Prague Black Panthers, and now we are moving to my first touch in 2015 with Stuttgart Scorpions. And
how that comes? How was the idea of, now you say the Black Panthers, you have a competitive, great team. How was for you, or why you say now I want to go somewhere else? Why you're not just staying there? Why you say now I want to go out? Because this is what a lot of young kids doing, a European import. How was your position, and how was the level? How was the level different?
It's again linked to my professional, to my business, because I'm working beside the strength and conditioning and the fitness actions. I'm working in automotive industry, and at that time I was working more than 8 years for one German company, and they were trying to move me from Czech Republic to Stuttgart. And I was all the time saying no, I cannot leave Czech Republic because of the football, because of some another private topics. And even if the offer was really nice, but one time, that was in 2015, it was so beautiful offer that I really start to think about. So I say I have really one main task or checkpoint which has to be fulfilled, and this I will continue to play football. So we were in contact with that time new head coach of Stuttgart Scorpions, Emil Amico, and I sent him a movie. I traveled there for like the one practice. It was outside in the winter, and it said, "Oh yeah, we want you definitely." Yeah, so I signed the contract in my company, moved to Stuttgart, and that's it. Yeah. And then I play like one nice season in Stuttgart Scorpions, and afterwards I had to move back to Prague because of some private topics, and I've got again another better professional career, let's say, contract from another company. So I moved from Stuttgart back to Prague. Spent the season 2016 for Prague Black Panthers again, and afterwards I moved in 2017 and 18 to Ingolstadt Dukes.
But go back to Stuttgart. How was your first impression, your first GFL impression compared to Czech football back in the day? How was it to deal with GFL players? Is there a different, or you just feel like, I'm here, I run the show?
It was so and so. I mean, luckily, it was not a huge shock for me, because the organization of Prague Black Panthers, those 2 years before, it was really the top level. I mean, there was a clear agenda for every single practice. There was a clear plan, what we will do, how we will practice. The coaches, you know, we have almost for every single position a coach, which was not definitely unique in that time for another teams in the Czech Republic, maybe Prague Lions, you know. But the rest of the teams, there was like 1, 2 coaches taking care, one about offense, one about defense, and that's all, you know.
Absolutely.
But so in Prague Black Panthers, we have really almost for every position, some position coaches. So the movement from this level in Prague Black Hawks to GFL level for me was not so huge because I was used to know it, you know. But really, what I understood and what I learned in Stuttgart Scorpions is that this team was really preparing the players like 3 months before the first game in off-season program. So that was really my first touch of really well structure of the off-season program, you know.
Okay, so basically before that in Prague, you guys weren't involved in some sort of off-season training? There wasn't really that instilled?
It was like we were trying to do something like running a stance, but it was not like a clear defined microcycle divided into microcycles and so on, you know. So I ran before my first season in Scorpions my own program, and it was really like in the condition which were in that time available here. Means it was a winter. You did your athletic workout like 40 minutes running on the athletic oval outside during some temperature pretty cold around the 0. Then you had to sit to the car, move 10 or 15 minutes to the gym and continue in your strength, you know, preparation for the season. And it takes like almost, I don't know, 2.5 hours. And for the guy who is not doing the football for the life, it's pretty hard to find this time for that, you know. So I was really thinking why there is no kind of complex where you can do your athletic workout together with the strength workout under one roof. And at that time, I have my first idea, how to say it. We were again in a pub, but don't tell it to anybody, because we in Czech Republic, we have pretty nice and tasty Czech beer. So in that time, with one of my teammates from Prague Black Panthers, Jan Stigler, the guy who was here, we were sitting together with a bunch of teammates, and I was complaining about that, you know, that I'm missing something like this in the US. In almost every college, they have their own complex where they can run, make some strength program and so on, and there's nothing here. And Jan was complaining because he's crazy, he's fallen in love with NFL, NCAA, everything, so we know almost every university, their background, their possibilities and so on. So we say, yeah, I'm missing it too. And then we say, okay, so let's build it by ourselves, you know. And then we started. It was in 2016, and basically from week to week, we just find some space, invest to some basic stuffs, and yeah, start to run some really good off-season program with Prague Black Panthers.
That is great. So you really start with Jan from the button. You're not like, okay, we have kind of crazy money. So you really start step by step by step.
Exactly. That was it. Yeah. Our first, and maybe we are jumping from one topic to another.
Oh yeah, I know. We
Let us move back to the this all-in training complex, our gym afterwards. Just finish the career, you know. So we were in 2017 and 2018 in Dukes with me, and then in 2019 I joined back Prague Black Panthers and continued to play here.
Perfect. And in the Dukes in Ingolstadt, you're not living there. You going back and forth from Prague.
Yes.
How was a normal day? How was a normal day for you look on a practice day? What time you go up and when time you finally back home?
So in Dukes, actually it was from timing point of view much more better for me, because normally if I'm not in a gym, I'm working as mentioned in automotive industry, and in 80% I'm traveling around the Europe, you know, visiting my suppliers, doing some audits and so on. So for me, really, it was when the practices plan here in Prague is pretty tough for me and almost for every single player, because they have their own families, they have their own kind of life, they have to work daily, you know, because nobody is playing for football for their life. So the same was with me. So comparison between the Prague Black Panthers and Ingolstadt Dukes were following. When I was playing for Prague Black Panthers, or I'm still playing, but today we are not practicing as everybody in Europe. So it was like I was doing some supply visit somewhere in Poland, for example, 4 hours away from Prague, and I knew that in the same day, in the evening at 7 p.m., I have to be in Prague. So I just was watching my time, set up some agenda. I knew that at 3 p.m. I have to finish the business meeting, sit to the car, and move 4 hours or 4.5 hours back to Prague. So it was really like a kind of under pressure, a little bit more stress for me. And it was even not so healthy, because imagine 4 hours sitting in the car. It's really, I arrived to Prague 30 minutes before the practice, already have my football stuff in my car. And then you have to run on the field and have like 2 or in some cases even 3 hours long practice, you know. So that was from timing point of view, a little bit more difficult for me than in comparison with Ingolstadt Dukes, because there was a really nice plan, at least for me. They have every Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday the practice, but on this practice it was not mandatory for us. The mandatory practice for us was only on Friday. There was an evening workout or evening practice which started at 7 and finished, it depends, sometimes at 11, you know. At 11, no, yeah. It was like 3 hours max and not more. So it was for me nice, because I have the whole week from Monday until Thursday to do my job, to work in the gym, to make some my trainings. And on Friday at 3 p.m. I just start to be focused on the Dukes. We sit together to the car with my another teammate. The first season it was Robert Krejča, offensive lineman. Then he went to Dresden Monarchs, and last year he finished. And the second year it was as well offensive lineman. It was Jakub Kralik. He's still playing there. So at 3 p.m. on Friday, we sit to the car and move to Ingolstadt Dukes to be there for evening practice. And then we stay at Coach Eugene Hav. Hi, Eugene. Hello again. And we stay in his house or in an import house during the weekend. Be there for Saturday or Sunday game, and then after the game, we just sit in the car and move back to Prague.
Okay, but you spend then your whole weekend away from
and
Prague, family, and all that stuff. This is also 16 games in the GFL. Like, this is 16 weekends you're not at home.
Yes, tell me about it, or tell it to my girlfriends, or actually ex-girlfriends, you know, because like 2 of my last relationships basically finished because of, I will say, because of that, you know.
Wow, that is a commitment. That's a commitment to sports.
But, or maybe the love was not harder than
that's true. That's true, because this is the thing, right? I mean, I want to talk a little bit about how it was for you, especially because you played in Coach Frank Rose's offense, not being there. So preparation is a little bit different, because, I mean, you know this too, now being in the performance world, you need repetitions. It's not just easy to look at a piece of paper and then I'm going to show up on a Friday, which is probably more game simulation, and I'm ready to go. The other aspect is the girlfriend topic. I mean, I know this personally. At the end of the day, if they meet you, your football self, because this is the thing, right? And at some point, they got to understand, like, football's here, you're second. Not that you're not important, but they understand, hey, you're under a specific sort of routine. They know what it takes for you to prepare, to play this and love. So, I mean, it doesn't have to say first, because, like, even Shannon Sharp talked about this a few weeks ago when he was on a podcast. And it's very interesting, because it's funny. He said the reason why he was the most successful, just in general, is like he put football here. And, of course, he get paid from it, but he put it here, and he told every relationship, he's like, you're second. Not that I don't love you and blah, 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 and that you're not important, but you got to understand that for me, for football, food on the table, so forth, it has to be first.
Yeah. I would say I don't want to really make a kind of deep dive in those legs and what talks about the girlfriends, because I don't want to be guilt today in the evening. They still know when I'm.
What about the performance aspect of it, like the preparation? Did you notice?
Yes. No, the preparation was really necessary, definitely. But when you mentioned the coach Frankie Roser, I really love them because his preparation and his service to us as his players or receivers was amazing. I mean, he was doing a movie with all of his signals for games and so on. So you were able to study it remotely, you know. All the time he makes it like, I don't know, he tell what is the action, what is the name, then he makes some sign, touches balls, and afterwards make this. And that was like, it was really brilliant. So the preparation, the study of the playbook, it was definitely mandatory. But I can say, you know, when I was moving to Stuttgart or to Dukes, I was already playing maybe, I don't know, definitely more than 10 years. So it's as older as you are playing more with your head, you know. So I would say definitely it cannot, I guess it cannot work for young players without the kind of skills. Then they can travel to play in GFL and be there only for one practice. Definitely not, you know. And of course, important is as well for receivers, the chemistry with the quarterback as well. This is something what you need to practice on the practices. So all the time you have to find some correlation in between. Yeah.
Absolutely. That sounds great. So I think now everyone get a little look how much you already put on the table as a player in Czech. Like you say, you're going 100 kilometers to practice in Prague, but sometimes people calling you like, coach, I can't come to practice. I have 15 minutes to walk. Or like, are you serious? So this is a great commitment. And next topic, we already talked about your performance center, but it's like every coach in Europe, I said yesterday, you dream of having a facility to make football practice. And you know, how big is it right now? How many square meters you have? And I think Coach Mele has a lot of questions as well. How is your setup there right now? And yeah, I have then also some more questions about it.
Yeah. So the first idea I already explained how we and why we built this complex. And actually, the problem number one is to find a good space for that, because if you want to have some indoor complex where you can do a proper athletic workout, you need really a larger room, you know. And in Prague, honestly speaking, this is not so. It's as well about the money, because it's going to be really expensive. But finally, we find one nice place in old brewery house, again the beer. And there was a kind of development project in that buildings, or there was several buildings, and there was one huge open space. No, huge in that it had like 400 square meters, you know. And we were pressed by the time because it was the summertime, and we wanted to start the first off-season program for the whole team in the end of the September, beginning of October. So we have the knife on our neck, and we say, okay, let's go to this room. So somehow we built it really together with Jan Stigler and a bunch of our teammates. They helped us. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, we just half of the room we put there like the grass, you know, and another one was a kind of the room for the strength preparation. There are like in that time we had like 5 podiums where you can do some workout with the bar, you know. But today or after the second year, we knew that it's too small for us and we need something bigger. So we start to think about a much more bigger place. Finally, we got it. So today we have almost 700 square meters, and it's amazing, you know. Like I'm happy that as well and other teams. Basically, we spent zero cents to marketing so far. and other teams are trying to contact us like that. They somehow hear about this space and they would like to use it as well for the training. So we are happy that this complex is not just for American football teams, but as well for the rugby team. From time to time, we get some MMA fighters here. We got definitely the softball. Even the women Czech national softball team, they are doing their winter preparation here. Wow, so I'm happy by that. Yeah.
This is great. I mean, this is what every coach wants, and it's so great as you having this right now. That's
and it's really, I mean, I hope that a lot of players are watching or will be watching this. So this is really something what is important for every single team to make the off-season program. I don't want to tell how important it is as a prevention against some injuries and so on, but the main concept is that you are making a kind of team building, you know, because in the past when I started in football, my first years, we were meeting everybody only when the season starts, you know. So you almost didn't know what is next to you, you know. You almost didn't know for whom you are blocking and so on. But today, if we are making the off-season program together, it's really you are watching on your teammates in different scale, because you were there with him in the gym, like he was almost crying after some athletic workout, or you were cheering for him to make this 100 kgs on a bench press and so on. So it's really about I don't like to tell it's about creating a family, but definitely it's a teamwork, you know, and the guys are connected together, and then the season is starting and you are really already the best teammates in the beginning of the season. So as mentioned, I don't want to make any deep dive discussion into the science things, why it is important and so on, but even from this mental point of view, it's important. So to everybody, if you have any chance that you will work out together in a team, do it, because then the scale of your teammates will be absolutely banked to another level. Yeah.
100%, because that's like the biggest thing. And Coach Sebastian kind of filled me in a little bit. He also mentioned to me that also you have different football teams in the area and the guys train together. So first of all, touch of bases, like that's also the big thing that we know from the States, right? It's like the team building, the camaraderie. That's technically what makes the good teams, the decent teams, great. It's that little it factor. And it comes down, like you just said, you just saw your teammate literally probably dying, throwing up in a puke bucket, you know, and you saw him to the point of breaking, but he fought, because to be honest, that's what we demand of our players on the field. So if you have that already, that, how do we call it, that prior exposure to a situation like that, what you guys are able to come together, build each other up. For me, the biggest thing I'm seeing coming from the States, and this is one thing that is a little bit different. I don't know how it is in the Czech Republic, but I know it's like that in Germany, where I've coached at, and now again in Poland, for example, and also now recently in France, is what I've noticed is a lot of guys are not willing to train with players from other teams. And I don't understand that, because in the States, every summer off season, we'd always come back, or we had a rival high school that's like 2 to 5 miles away, and we always had workouts. It didn't matter if I knew I was going to play against this receiver this season, but we still trained together because we brought out the best out of each other. Even in JUCO, in college football, we always had these workouts. And that's one of the things that's interesting that he mentioned to me, that in your facility, you get also guys from different teams, especially in Prague.
Oh yeah, I say it's like that. It's from that point of view, you want to help to another players to be better players, you know. So for me personally, I don't care if even if from some another Prague teams will enter the doors here and ask, hey, I want to train here. He's only welcome, you know. We were basically running the in the past, for example, strength condition program or off-season program from one Prague teams who was playing against our Prague B team in the second league, you know. So it was in that time, we don't say you are our competitors. I don't want to, if I don't want to make any off-season for you, because I will make you a better team than is our team, you know. So it's not like that. You are trying to really help to the teams. And what I really like is for example, it's I don't want to say fun, but sorry, ladies, for that. We are doing the off-season programs for Prague Black Cats, which is the women team from our organization, and as well Prague Harpies, which are their competitors, you know. But basically, those girls, they are from time to time meeting here because, for example, cats, they are finishing they work out, and afterwards there is a Harpies team. So, but luckily, so far we didn't have any fight.
Situation. No, I mean, but that's the thing.
Maybe one time I will just drop there some bunch of chocolate and Nutella, and
like, I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I wasn't involved. No, but that's like I absolutely love that. That's also me coming from the strength and conditioning world and working as a strength coach, especially out here in Europe, where you see for the most part in Europe, and I've been exposed because I've also worked with the Polish Strength and Conditioning Association. It's very interesting because not only is, and like I said, you don't want to talk about it, but just in terms of where the strength and conditioning world is at in the States, for example, right now, and where Europe is at, where technically Europe, for the most part, and I'd say in Germany, where I've worked with a lot of top people out here, it's about 8 to 10 years behind just philosophy-wise compared to the States, right? Mm-hmm. But just seeing where you have a facility, because there's not a lot of facilities like that. I would say not even in Germany, just by the square meters and what you're offering in terms of having enough space to have actual practices as well and rent it out. But like just in general, of having a true performance facility, that is rare in Europe when you're talking about, let's say, things as have nothing to do with, let's say, Division I soccer.
Yeah, it's like that. What to say to that? I'm happy. I mean, everybody who are traveling to Prague and have a time, just text us or write us, email us, and we'll be happy to show this our performance training complex to you.
Yeah. That was also one thing, because I'm also coaching Team Czech Republic. For me, also one thing, when I'm now here in Ravensburg, we're always looking for having a practice camp. And for us, it makes sense to come just for a weekend to Prague because the way is too long. But I really look for something, if we can arrive there Thursday night, leaving Sunday late, to be there on the practice facilities, getting a cooperation with you, book us in to something, because this all together, having a practice camp, a facility, you can train the guys and make a little indoor combine, something like that. This is really something I already, also for other coaches, I look for hotel, practice field, the all-in complex, because you know how it is as a coach. You want to make a practice camp, you call like, oh, we can use your turf field in March. Yeah, of course, we have room for 15 people. So I'm an American football team. I come with 60 people, and they're eating, and we need space, we need meeting rooms. And then you always have the question, in March, we can use your gym, and they say, yeah, we have a gym for soccer, you know. They say, sorry, I mean, there's no room for us. So this is for every other team, I hope. Check out Prague, check out the all-in complex. You have, of course, Prague is, for us as German, is cheap for hotels. You know, everyone can get their room. This is a great deal, and I'm pretty sure when teams contact you, you will find a way to get great deals done. I think this is because everyone I talk about asking me what is Czech football, I always bring down Jan Stiegler and Daniel Balažovič with the all-in complex, because it's just not there for other countries.
Yeah,
great thing.
I mean, for example, even it is funny because Jan Stiegler, he's as well the head coach of the U19 team, and like 1 year ago they have some friendship game against, it was a Hamburg, I'm not sure, some GFL junior team, and they even provide, like, the whole team was sleeping here in our complex, you know, because it's not so far from the field.
Wow.
50 people can be there, you know, in the sleep bags, but it was like, so we can use that room as well, like that, you know, as you mentioned. Yeah, so, but back to that again, really, if anybody is thinking about or have some question mark in his head, should I quit or not? Take a bunch of your teammates, try to look for some nice plays around your town and make it, because afterwards another teams can join, another sports can join and support you, and you can survive or even grow up as we are already 4 years on the market and still growing up, you know. So do it. It's important, really. It's important to that the team will do some strength and conditioning things together. Really, this is definitely, as you mentioned, we are so many years back against, for example, in comparison with the US, you know. So really, everybody should understand that playing American football is not just to have some camp before the season start and then let's rock. You know, for example, we are starting like our off-season program three months before the first outside training with full packs. Yeah, it's like that. So 3 months really. Then you have like 3 months the season, and you have a half year complete booked for the football, or maybe more than half year. Yeah.
That's great. No, definitely. I mean, that's the thing where it's like, and we could keep talking about it over and over again. And I'm a big guy, and this is what I've been dealing with for the last, let's say, 5 years. When in terms of just performance training and training athletes, is especially in the GFL, where, and this is right, where in Europe everybody looks at the GFL as being what the top league, right, in Europe. And yes, it is semi-pro, but it's also pro at the end, right? So for some guys, it is professional. Some guys like you, for example, you put in the effort, the work as a true professional, as a true import would do. Because you do get guys, and you've probably seen this firsthand, being where you've been at, and even right now at Prague, like you do get guys where you see two different deals. You see they play top league, but they act like it's fifth league, right? They're sitting there smoking after practice, maybe not really taking performance the right way. And then you get guys that are like, no, like I'm training like as if I was in the States.
Yeah, that's it. And still, even within the team, when we are starting the off season, you need to set some target, you know. So we are making those combined tests. So the first combined test, or I don't want to tell it combined, like a first testing is the first workout in the beginning of the off season. We just measure the guys, what is their to know their lower and upper body strength, you know, or even the speed and so on. So we are measuring like 30 yards dash. We are measuring how many reps can you do with 100 kg bench press. We are measuring three reps with your maximum 3 reps, not just one. We are measuring the vertical jump or the broad jump. And then at the end of the off-season program, we are repeating those tests, you know. So everybody had some commitment to that, because nobody from the team wants to have the same result in the end of the off season, you know, because then the rest of the team will really be mad on you, or definitely they will be not happy like that on you, because I'm telling to everybody, the team is so strong as is the strengthness, or how weak is the weakest part of the chain, you know. That's what I'm telling. So there is a commitment in this off-season program by every player, and I'm happy that every single players who are playing in Prague Black Panthers, they are trying really to make their best in those off-season workouts.
Yeah, that's great, because now you bring in, and you're kind of saying the guys take it seriously, the performance, right? The aspect of it, like we need to prepare, because why? You guys don't only compete in the Czech league, right? You compete in what? The AFL and ultimately international play, where now the stakes are even higher, because not only does it cost a lot of money to play in the first league, but now you're playing AFL and international championship games. Like, for example, against teams like the Vienna Vikings, the Swarco Raiders, the Nube Dragons, for example.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And as well, I mean, when I will review some of the results which I have in my head. For example, we got here one D-line man, Michal Novak. He's not playing anymore. But those results are similar to NFL combine games. this guy at the final combine, he did on a bench press like with 100 kgs, 39 reps, 39 reps. Then this year, our offensive lineman, Miroslav Kysilka, I think we will talk about him, and he's really one of the best players currently in the Czech Republic. And his squat was, I'm not sure, but I think 230 kilograms 3 times, So this is crazy. That's
better than a lot of the numbers right now currently going around in the CFL international combines.
Yeah, that's very crazy. Just to one important thing is to mention as well that regarding off-season program, of course, we in our all-in training complex, we are not in the top service. Really, the top will be that every single position will have their own program, which is the best fit for their position. But unfortunately, this is not possible in the, let's call it, semi-professional team, because the guys, they cannot be like some of the guys. They cannot say, okay, I'm fine to be on a off-season training on Monday from 8 to 9 p.m. Another one from 9 to 10 or whatever. So you have to put almost all the team together except the O-lines. Our O-line, really, this year or last year, I didn't play in any team with a better O-line like Prague Panthers. They have like Kysilka brothers, Michal Knotek. I can mention every single part of that O-line, and they are making their own off-season program, which is really, for them, it makes no sense to run like 40 yards always in the athletics. So they have their own strength and conditioning coach, Remek, and they are doing really great programs as well. So we try to divide it by the O-line. They are doing their own, and the rest they are working with us here on the training complex.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we could get into specifics. We'll probably do that on another episode because we'll be talking to strength coaches next week, but we'll talk about it later. But I mean, that's the number one thing. It's like, yes, it's European football, so at least where you have, if you can do it, then you have everybody, and then you have the O-line. Or if you go O-line, D-line, you could go then big skill and skill, if that's possible. If you have it, and of course, financial aspects come into it, depending on the strength coach, how much it is. But at least where you have something, like you kind of said, it's more split up appropriately to the position because, like you just said, offensive linemen are not sprinting what? The 40-yard dash. Maybe the receiver will catch that, and then boom, he's running 40 yards, or DB has to flip his hips and turn 40 yards and sprint. Other than that, for the most part, nobody, especially on offensive linemen, the only time they're ever doing that is probably what? And I've seen it. After a game, you stop at McDonald's, literally the bus doors open, and boom, you've never seen them run that fast in your life. That's the only time. And
but really, again, I'm not, honestly speaking, I'm not the best friend with those O-linemen, but no, just kidding. But it happened in some of the games, like there is some crazy run by running back. You are blocking your DB or safety, and after the play, you just turn up and your O-line man is just next to you, So, and then in the huddle movie, you say, "Oh Jesus, he was running almost 30 yards and blocking somebody." So, respect to them and to every O-line who is playing like that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Wanna hit the next topic, what is the Prague Black Panthers. We talk about now so many times about it. For me, it is, like I say, one of the best programs in Europe, and I like to explain now why I thinking that. When you look to the GFL, Dresden, Braunschweig, Schwäbisch Hall, they're having great players, but they're having Austrians, Swedish, French, players from everywhere. When you look now at the Black Panthers, this is for me a team, put them in the GFL, you will become a German ball contender always. Why? You have so many local great guys. You mention always the O-line. O-line, they have hard names, and I don't like to pronounce every name, but let's start with the right receiver group. You have Daniel, Jan Beran, Jan Stiegler. This is top already in Europe, and I forgot names already. Then you look at the DBs, Jan Kapat, LJ, Philip Ondrashek, great guys. And then we come, for me personally, I'm a defense guy, the best linebacker gang in Europe, David Sobota, a crazy guy, David Sobota. Then Michka Ondra Michka, a young, talented linebacker. When you look him up on Instagram, he looks like an animal. He is so young. He's trained. He is a Division I linebacker. If he want to go there, he can go there. And then for me, the best European linebacker, Carl Augusta. You not want to meet this guy in a dark corner. He is on the edge. He is on the field. And on D-line, Jan Stradi, I probably pronounced the name wrong. Defense end, young, talented. And I forgot so many guys already. But all these names, it's like 10 players right now. You have a team. I know it. I coach the Bobcats, and we go out. Let's say we play against Pardubice, against the Lions. We are one touchdown behind. We know we can win. We are a good team. We can win. If you have the feeling you step out of the bus against the Prague Black Panthers, you already say, "Oh shit, no, oh shit." You have this like Real Madrid, FC Barcelona. Everyone know, not today. This is tough. Now, what you think? What makes the Black Panthers so special? And how now we know, damn Corona. But I think this year in the AFL, you are the top team out there, and I think you are on the edge to prove it. I mean, how you think the Black Panthers become that unique group, like you say, guys not really leaving? I mean, you are one of the fewest Czech guys who go out, and you see all the trophies behind. You do a great job in junior coaching. How that all makes the Black Panthers to what they are, to a top program in Europe.
Yeah. So starting from the beginning, I have to agree. I mean, I'm so happy that I'm playing in Prague Black Panthers, and I'm not against them, because really this is the best so far what can be offered here in the Czech Republic. That's on my personal opinion. Yeah. Receivers, maybe you forget Jakub Voleski. This is a GFL 1 top star receiver. He should be definitely there. Kano Tessi, pretty young receiver. Then linebackers, Tomáš Svoboda definitely, and I call them really like a bomb duo together with Karel Augusta or Smíšek. They will be starters in GFL team, or whatever team, definitely, you know. So this year in AFL, it's pretty hard, because last year I think our goal last year was to be in the playoff. We did it to playoff. Some issues happened during the season, like we changed the coaches and so on, and in some main positions we were not as expected to be. But even with that, we finished in the semi-final game, and this semi-final game was like every single loss really hurts, but that was one of the special, because even during the handshake after the games, you had a feeling, or you saw from the players, amazing players from Vikings, like, wow, that was really a nice game, and it was so tough game. So afterwards, we really knew if we will keep the same standard like we did, improve the gaps, then we shouldn't think just about the playoff, but really the target for 2020 AFL was the final game. And I'm still telling that if this will happen, I mean the AFL, I have no doubts that we will be there, really, because actually we had a weekend camp, or weekend, it was from Thursday until the Sunday camp, and the next weekend we should travel to Innsbruck Raiders. But during this week, all the issues happened, borders were closed, and the AFL was so far stopped, you know. So I have no information from management what is the plan, but honestly speaking, my personal thinking is that this year we as a Prague Black Panthers, we will not play the AFL because we will be not allowed to travel through the borders. You know, what a shame, but it is like it is. So, but still, and it really sucks and hurts me or every single my teammates, because we really spent so crazy difficult hard off-season program, and suddenly just a few days before the first game it was like borders closed, coronavirus affected, I mean, everybody. I don't want to talk in detail about that. So it hurts, it sucks, but we need to focus what will be the next in 2020, you know. So I know that there is maybe some discussion that we will play a kind of Czech league. There might be some meeting of every Czech association teams in 15th of April, but I really don't know. Maybe there will be kind of shorten kind of league during the summertime or during the autumn time. We will see. You know, we will see. But regarding the organization, why the Prague Black Panthers? Sorry to another teams, even another teams in Czech Republic are really growing up, and I am happy to see that.
Absolutely.
But still, I think the Prague Panthers is the top team in the Czech Republic. Why we are on that level? When I will compare our organization with another ones, I think we have really amazing work for young players. You know, it started with U19, which is coached, as mentioned, by Honza Stigler, and afterwards we set another level and we created the U15 organization that was in 2017. And I said I will take care about that. So since 2017, we are working with the kids. And we are so successful. I mean, in 2017, our first league in U15, we finished on the third place. 2018, we have almost perfect season with 32 wins and only 1 loss in the regular season.
And you have crazy scores. You have like 1,000 points scores or something.
Yeah. We score like almost 1,200 points, and we get like not more than 300 points. You know, so that was crazy. But then we finished on the third place because in semi-final game we basically lost. And the last year the same, almost perfect season, 4 wins, 2 losses, first place finally. Here is the cap from U15, and this is from U19. Well done by Coach Stigler. So I think this is really the process which should be set up in every single team. You know. Back in my times when I started with the football, it was like there were almost no junior league, or there was some junior league, but only I know maybe 5 teams were playing that. So the senior team was fitted up by a kind of open camps. You know, who wants to play the football? Try it, and you will see if you like it or not. But today I am happy to say that that happened last year. We in PBP, we cancel those open training camps for the senior teams because we are trying to feed it up the senior team by the juniors, you know, and the juniors team we are feeding up by the U15 team. Mm-hmm. And also this is really, we are trying to work with the kids already to develop them that in the age of 18 it's not needed to explain them how to run the route, how to catch the balls, you know, they are already prepared for that. So I think this is really something what is still keeping the distance between Prague Black Panthers and other Czech teams.
Yeah, and the great thing is when every team has a problem is to find coaches for the youth teams. And now you say what you do. You have your job, you have a gym, you are a player, you have family, and you are, I mean, whatever, but a private life. And you are a junior coach. So, and this fits all together. I mean, that is what I tell also my guys when I say, if you not want to play until you 100, you need to help to get a youth program running, and there is time if you want it. And this is the great thing. I think, like you say, this is one what makes the Black Panthers so unique. You have so many old players that stop playing, or still playing, coming in the organization. You know, we need to be there. We just can't go off the practice home. We need to be there. And we, whatever, if you help on marketing, if you help on junior coaching, and I think this is what we're missing in Germany, because players sometimes just go home and say, I'm a GFL player, and you guys, this is why you always, I don't know how many times the Black Panthers, since the Black Panthers are the Black Panthers, winning the Czech ball. I think it's like 9 out of 10 years.
We like that. We won every single championship. Well, if in that year we were playing the Czech league like that, you know. So yeah, it's. I mean, you have to. For example, Daniel Krejbik, you know, or his brother David Krejbik. They were playing, I don't know, more than 15 years, or maybe 20 years. Sorry, brothers, I don't know, but both of them are still connected with the team. I mean, Dan is doing the coaching stuff in junior league, in senior team, and I can continue. I do as well that another players, they are already starting thinking about when I will stop with my football career as a player. I want to continue as a coach, because football became, yes, American football here in Europe became definitely a strong part of their life, you know, even of their families. So I mean, you have to have it in your heart. It has to be definitely part of your life, of your lifetime, and you have to have some vision, you know, or some reason why to make it. For me, why I started with 15, for me it's clear, because if I will have this knowledge which I have today, 10 years ago, then maybe I will be absolutely on different level as a player, you know. And this is the reason why I want to share this knowledge with the U15, U19, you know, to train them, to explain them that they will not do the same stupid things like I did during my career, for example, starting by a preparation for the football, studying the playbook, studying the opponents, you know, spending the time in the huddle and so on. So this is the reason, this is my vision why I want to be a coach, you know, to share, it's called lesson learned to the young kids, that they will not make the same fault as me, for example. That's it. And I think, for example, Honza Stiegler, he's doing as well a brilliant job in, he's a player, he's a head coach of the U19, he's a sports manager of Prague Black Panthers, you know, so
that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you need to have this basic team who really takes care about the whole organization. And there are many other names which nobody knows, for example, who are taking care about the marketing, about the fields issue, about the sponsorships and so on. So yeah.
That is the great thing, and this is what I mentioned on the first. This you feel that when you play against the Black Panthers, when you step out of the bus, everyone has black T-shirts with PvP. I remember when we played each other in the Czech ball in Eden Arena, the whole offense was like in a T-shirt, the whole defense, and we sitting there as Bobcats like, we know we are good, but this is another level. This is another level we're facing here right now, and this is just a great thing. And there, like I say, and people always that don't believe me, I say there's not many teams in Hero that have this organization, you know. And this is why I'm sharing for the Black Panthers. Go out and win this damn Austrian ball. Go out and show everyone how great you are, because this is the last piece. What is really missing is the Austrian Bowl trophy next to the other one, and then people will understand what hard work it is out there. That is really for me.
Yeah. And honestly speaking, this will happen definitely if we will have any chance to play in AFL and we will be prepared like that. So this is really something which is possible, and I'm happy that, like, some years ago when we were joining the AFL, everybody who was counting like how many games they can win or lose. So everybody, Prague Black Panthers, okay, it's automatical win for us, you know. But back a few years ago, since I don't know 2-3 years ago, that's my personal feeling that really they understood Prague Black Panthers as a good opponent, definitely. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, for me hearing all this, and I'm gonna say this, there's a lot of teams, especially top teams, but that's like we kind of talked about already. Kind of hearing in terms of why you, and for example, Mosqueda, why you guys are involved in the youth, okay? It's because you guys care. You guys care about the future of the program. You don't care about the now. And that's what too many teams in Europe and even powerhouse teams, right? Because what do? They just focus on the men's. They focus, hey, we got money, screw it. We're just going to buy guys, plug and play. But this is the thing, right? You could save that money and use it, right? Like a lot of teams do effectively and invest it in the youth. But this is the thing, right? The common denominator that you see with top teams that have something like a situation like you guys is that you have guys that care. That truly care, where at the end of the day, they don't say, hey, at the end of my career, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go sit at home and do whatever I want. It's more like they want to give back because like what you said, and I've seen that out here coaching, also men's, also coaching in the youth, and I know Coach Sebastian has kind of the same mindset. It's like you see what is the possibility if things are, let's say, a little bit tweaked. You know, you say, hey, we could fix these little things for that next generation coming through. Imagine what that team is going to be. That men's team will be in the next 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
It would be a powerhouse. That's how you can develop an academy that some of these top teams have out here. And there's probably, 3-4 top academies out here in Germany, for example. And then also in France, they got some top academies. But that's the big thing where it's like you are focusing on the longevity. It's going to pay off at some point. That's what you guys saw last year. Basically, now that next step, like, oh, crap, like, they're here to play, you know?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I said something about the distance between Prague Black Panthers and other Czech teams, and the distance is really shortening, you know? That's true, but in some cases, it's really shortening because of they bring more imports here. But this is okay to get some temporary results, my perspective. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But definitely, if you want to guarantee the long-term still improving trend, then it's if you don't have a billions on your team account, then you have to develop players, and that's the reason. As it's absolutely like you mentioned. I mean, the complete U19 team is coached by the senior players, still by the active players, you know, and then yeah.
A lot of teams don't have that. Like, they don't have that.
And it's important to mention everybody are doing it for free, you know. Most of them, they have their families, you know, they have their, of course, own business, but still as a part, really a huge part, as a football is a huge part of their life. They basically, it's for me, it's same important as my job, as my complex here, you know, to be part of this organization, to grow with this organization, and to set up some brightness future, you know. So I think if the distance between us and another teams are shortening, then it can spread again if those teams will not really spend some resources to the youth organization, definitely, because this is the key.
Absolutely, and that's what I also say to the guys. Like, you are a player, but imagine you go and coach a youth team. The kids get coached by their heroes. You know, they are at the weekend in the stadium, they're seeing you scoring a touchdown or making a tackle or something like that. And then you're staying there and teach them football. You know, when you as a coach, you're always like, it's like mommy and daddy, you know, but when a player is there, you know, the player is there and say, hey, run this route like this or run it like that. That means so much to the kids everywhere, wherever country you are.
And I have one interesting point to that, because exactly, you know, this is there are for me two different type of coaches. The coach which got the automatic respect from the players without any force, without any hard words and so on, and then another coach who is trying to get this respect, you know. And as I'm even in the U15 league, from time to time, you see the coaches who are scaring on his players. Oh, why you played like that? That's not allowed. You do it wrong, absolutely, and so on. But in my head, I'm telling like, come on, man. It's not the fault of the kid, of the player. The player is the mirror of you, of the coach. So if you want to blame anybody, you should stand in front of the window and tell it to in front of the mirror, sorry, and tell it to the mirror, you know. So that's it. And this is about, again, about the way how you work with the kids, because what the kids are learn in U15, they will take definitely to U17, U19, you know, and you are not spending another time by explaining basic things there. But all the time it has to be some good setup of the training and the training method, because for example, me in the U15, they are still kids, you know, so you cannot all the time just make a workout or practice like for top athlete with them. It has to be still a kind of fun, kind of competition, but still you need to get as many as possible out of the practice, you know. And I think this is something what should be improved in another teams. I don't want to blame another teams, you know, but since I see our organization as really the top organization regarding the youth program, then I will be happy if some another teams will even contact me or Jan Stigler and try to talk about, you know, because I think this is what the problem, that the teams, they are not talking too many together in order to develop and improve the American football here in Europe.
Yeah, we had that. I mean, where I'm coming from right now, Marseille, because I was also there. I was the associate head coach and the youth academy director, and I was in charge of all 5, 6 of our youth teams to make sure we had a structure.
Yeah.
Given structure all the way down from the U8 to the U19, where, of course, like you kind of said, right? I can't coach, and at least for me, my biggest baby was our U16, because when I got there, my import Canadian receiver wasn't there, and he's supposed to take over as head coach OC. So I ran that team like I would essentially a GFL team, right? Just in terms of like structure, right? Now, not coming after the kids, of course not. But, right, for me, that was the baby, because my main focus was getting to understand we're still having fun. And there's always a percentage, right? When you're going from the U8, to be honest, it's just 100% fun. We'll play some games to get them to start learning what is football and so forth. But you get like these percentages where it grows a little bit bigger as you move up each team to now it's more like U19 and the men's where it's serious. Because the biggest thing is like you kind of talk about, I guess you guys have some sort of structure set up. I guess you would assume, and maybe in-house coaches clinics to kind of talk about, hey, are we using the same terminology? Is it a version of the same playbook being taught from the men's? I don't know. What is it that you guys have?
So we have definitely the structure. You know, we are sitting together with Honza Stigler in the beginning of, or not in the beginning, but after the end of, let's call it postseason. During the postseason, we sit together and we are trying to think about like, okay, here is the U15. That was the target which we set up in the beginning of the season. We reached the target. What will be the next? Which players from U15 are moving to U17? Which position they should play? You know, a kind of skills. We are evaluating their skills to see that they will really fit in the best to the team. And he's doing the same for the U17, U19. So really, we got the structure before the start of every season, and we are just trying to monitor this structure. That's it. So, but the structure is definitely important. You need to know where you want to be and what you have to do to be there.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, like we already talked about, there's many teams in Europe, and we kind of have these talks these last 2 days with Coach Holly and Coach Rosa, where teams say they want to develop a program, even though they're a club at that situation, because it's like a lot goes into making a program. You know, it's not just, hey, we have the money, we're bringing in, let's say, 10 imports a year, and so like you kind of talk about, you need that constant turnover. And that turnover comes down to what? The youth. Because this is a thing, right? Maybe those imports don't come next year. Maybe some of your top core domestic guys will retire in the next 3 to 5 years. Where are you going to get the bulk of your players? If your roster is 45, right? and 10 of them are imports. Where are the other 30-something guys coming from? That's the youth. That's where you see a lot of these teams that they'll have, like you talked about, they'll have a few years where you see them, they'll narrow the gap, and then there's like a massive drop because their youth guys are not ready to make the jump straight from the U19 and say, I got a 19, 20-year-old, okay, who literally is starting the next year, or he's a legitimate backup. Like we had that in Schwäbisch Hall. That's the first time I kind of noticed where I was like the structure, the differences. Because when I was in Alcoy before with the Comets, literally the kids that would come from the U19, they weren't ready to play now. You notice they need at least 2-3 more years of development, and they're already 19 years old. So you're saying this kid won't be ready until he's what, 21, 22? You know, and then you're seeing at Schwäbisch Hall, we got a 19-year-old corner, you know, starting in the German Bowl and doing a damn good job against some of the big dogs that New Yorker has had over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of teams don't understand that. And I love the fact that what you guys are doing and hearing more about it, because it brings more light to what teams essentially sometimes they turn a blind eye and they say, oh, we just need to bring imports. It's like that's a short-term goal. If you have the structure, you're working on the youth, you build some sort of academy, it doesn't have to be academy per se, but a program, you know, at some point the results are going to come in and you're going to see just the consistency going.
Exactly. Yeah. But again, it's about the structure, and you have to set up the structure. For example, Coach Fandert mentioned Ondra Mička, you know, the player 18 years old. Ondra, I think you are 18 or 19 now. But in 18 years old, he was, or 17 as a junior, he was in 18. He was playing the junior league. Then he get the starts, definitely valuable reps in AFL team. And then he was as well in the Czech national team, you know. And in 18 years, so when he moved to senior team in the age of 19, this is a almost professional player ready to play really a top league. And this is about the structure, you know, about the development of the players since the kids. Yeah. But again, we can continue to talk about this.
I mean, and ultimately, like you said, at the end of the day, it's all about developing your football, also in your country, team to team, because that also has now an ultimate effect result to, let's say, you guys on the Czech national team. Because, like, you know, Coach Vander's the head coach. You're one of basically the top receivers players for the Czech national team. And, you know, and I've heard there's – I'm not going to say positions right now, but I'm saying there's a certain positions where you guys need more development at. But that comes down to what? Each team, right? Because, like, for example, you guys played what? Against France? That was essentially a closer game, you know? And then second half, you know, it kind of snowballed. But then you see that ultimate effect at the true international, national level. You're talking about Team Czech Republic and what you guys could do to be a dominant force and maybe a Final Four team.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It was
we are
game.
Sorry,
that was a tough game.
There was a but in that game, for example, with the France, don't watch about the score, because like the first half, the French team they were really surprised, like, wow, we didn't expect this tough game.
Yeah,
so the second half was another one, but back to that, we are working definitely. For example, there was a problem with a quarterback position, you know, in the Czech country. Back when I started to play in Czech national team, it was in 2010. There was playing Alan Kosňovský, who is today over 40 years, and afterwards there was nobody. So when we were traveling to Italy, to Milano for the European tournament, that was a Division B or Group B. Then before that, we were thinking, okay, who will be the QB? And then Jan Dundáček, one of the best receivers with which I have ever played, he was transferred to QB, you know, and basically the Czech national team had to play with a wide receiver on the main position of the offense, you know. And afterwards, he was doing really amazing job as a QB. But since he finished with his career, again, there was a Blaha who got injured, and that's it, you know. So but I can say we are developing really even young quarterbacks. We have right now one QB in US or Canada playing, And yeah, and I'm pretty sure that in our U19 or U17 programs, we have really, really talented, even in U15. I have one guy in U15, and I can't wait for the time when he will wear the pads, because this is really the talent from the nature, you know. So I can say that the future of, for example, this quarterback position in Czech Republic is ensured and guaranteed. And I hope, and I'm crossing my fingers, that we will be in the situation then in 5 years it will be not needed that we will have to bring the import from US for the quarterback position, because we will develop and train our own ones, you know.
And that sounds awesome. I hope this is what we can give with for the future for Czech football, and also for the Black Panthers develop a Czech quarterback. That will be awesome. We want to thank you for your time. It was a great talk, and again, 1.5 hours. We're hitting here a lot of time. And to all listeners out there, thanks for your time. And of course, if you're in Czech Republic, get in touch with the All In Complex. It's a great facility to get you ready for football. Thank you, Daniel, for your time.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your invitation. I will enjoy it. It was interesting discussion with you. And thanks to everybody who is listening and watching you. I mean, this is a really nice program, continuing that. And for all of the European teams, maybe don't watch for the imports in the US, but from time to time, you can find really interesting players in the Czech league. So if you are struggling, hit me up, and I'm willing to support you. But definitely there are some weapons in the Czech league. So hopefully we stay in touch, and we will see each other in the future.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Have a good.
Take care.
We'll definitely see each other, and then I definitely need to get one of those PBB shirts. I need to get a shirt.
You will. Take care. Stay healthy, and ciao. Tschüss.
Stay safe.
Outside. Ciao.